Welcome back to Thinking to Infinity, where we examine our world from an eternal perspective. Thus, Thinking to Infinity. Sounds cool, right? I came up with that. Well, I helped. It was mostly my wife. She's really smart. So, to start at the beginning, but isn't this the second video? I want to use this video to answer the question of why is Christianity important? Why does it matter? Why look at the world through that lens? That worldview. Worldviews. Why is any religion, or even spirituality in general, important for that matter? Why even ask these questions? Obviously, Christians think this is of infinite importance because they seem hell-bent, no pun intended, on converting anyone and everyone to their worldview. Why do Christians, specifically, proselytize? Proselytizing doesn't involve wearing high heels and fishnet stockings in the red light district. It just means sharing your faith. But why do they evangelize? Why witness? Why do Christians feel the need to push their beliefs on other people? Non-religious people often say things like, you may need religion to get through this life, but I don't. Or maybe religion helps you avoid existential fear and anxiety, but I can handle that without having to believe in some divine authoritarian creator. Actually, the term daddy God is the smarmy insult that atheists seem to like these days. But come on, live and let live, right? You do you, I'll do me. Why is this such a big deal for Christians? Well, that's a really good question. A while back, I was talking with a friend of mine, and our conversation came around to the question of what, if anything, happens when we die. He quickly changed the subject, which I noticed, and when I asked him why he avoided the topic, he said, I'm not against religion or anything, I'm just not a spiritual person. I don't want to get into a bunch of religious arguments with my friends, so I prefer to not talk about it. It's just never been that important to me. Big props to my buddy for not wanting to get into a word battle with his friends. That's noble, but that issue is what I want to talk about in this video, because, follow me here, if Christianity is true, it's the most important thing in the world. The Christian worldview implies that every person ever, this means you, is an eternal being.
You cannot die, MacLeod.
That this physical life that we're living now is only temporary, and we, as spiritual beings, will either end up with our Creator in a state of pure, wonderful fulfillment forever, or we'll end up separated from our Creator in torment forever. That's what's on the line. Eternal wonderfulness or eternal bad awfulness. And this life is your one chance to pick a side. Heavy stakes, man. Now, if Christianity is not true, it's just a waste of time. It's really just a distraction. But even if you don't buy into Christianity's claims, you have to admit, if it were true, because of what's at stake, it really would be the most important thing in the world. More important than your job, your financial status, even your family. More important than endangered animals, social justice. More important than politics, worldwide pandemics, impending global destruction by asteroids, and even more important than what will happen on the next season of Stranger Things. Think of it like this. Imagine you're placed in a room with two exit doors. One door leads to an eternity of feeling totally fulfilled, fully achieving your purpose for existing, and feeling genuinely loved and appreciated and blissful forever. The other doorway leads to the exact opposite, an eternity of devastation, incompleteness, and severe loneliness and pain forever. You will have to leave this room someday, but you don't know when. It might be tomorrow, or it might be 80 years from now, but it will be through one of those two doors. And no one's demanding that you make a decision right away. You're free to hang out here in this room without making a decision for that entire time. You can enjoy the company of other people in the room and have all sorts of wonderful experiences here. You might even get a little distracted and forget about those two doors altogether. But regardless of how much time you spend in the room, whether it's a little or a lot, the most important decision you make, the most important thing that you ever do in that room, is deciding which door you're going to leave through when your time runs out. Because the time you spend in the room is short, it's limited, and the time you spend on the other side of one of those two doors is not. It will never end. Thinking about eternity is cheap. Spending eternity in torment is expensive. Choose wisely. Now, you might be thinking this analogy breaks down when you consider that based on the Christian worldview, everybody's default is to leave the room through the suck door, and how horribly unfair that is, but we'll address that in another video. So for the atheists and agnostics out there who get super annoyed when people share their Christian faith, like I'm doing right now, it's important to understand that. For those of us who are convinced that Jesus is who the Bible says he is, this is really the most important thing in the world, ever. Because what's at stake is just too valuable. It's worth talking about. It's worth asking questions about. If I really care about you, I'm going to share this truth with you. I'm going to try my best to rescue you. I'm going to try my best to help you avoid spending an eternity on the other side of the wrong door. Do you have questions about eternity you'd like to see addressed on this channel? Well, let me know in the comments section below. I'm also still taking suggestions on witty taglines for Thinking to Infinity, so give it your best shot. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon to be notified when new videos are released. That's all for this episode. Insert witty tagline here, Thinking to Infinity.